A smart city is not an abstract vision of the urban utopia, but it is here and here to stay. Ever since the Prime Minister of India has announced the 100 Smart City mission, governments across the world have collaborated along with the experts in sustainability, have queued up and have deeply engaged with the Indian Smart City mission set out by the Honorable Prime Minister. I am Samir Pradhan of Control Trends, and I am joined today by a very distinguished personality, Mr. Andreas Binkert, who is the Senior Vice President and Head of International Projects of Nuesch Development, a Swiss architectural firm with international reputation. Let me welcome Mr. Andreas on Control Trends.
Thank you very much, Samir. I am Andreas Binkert. I'm a developer from Switzerland, and I'm very pleased to be here in India to help develop smart cities.
Awesome. Andreas is also an expert on the BEAT program, which is a Government of India program on building energy efficiencies, and he is an ambassador on the 2000 Watt Society, which is a Swiss government initiative. Andreas, there is a lot that we have been talking about, and I would like the viewers on Control Trends really understand what is the next plans and what is your expertise on smart cities and the deployment so far.
I'd love to do that. Maybe first, quick word to the 2000 Watt Society. What is a 2000 Watt Society? It simply means that we all should consume no more energy than there is available. That's called a footprint, and the footprint should be no bigger than 2,000 watt per person for everybody.
Okay.
Evenly distributed around the globe would be what consists of a footprint 1. That's 2000 Watt Society, and that's what we're working towards.
Excellent. I mean, you have been a part of some landmark smart city deployments, and you have been an architect and a creator of those cities. So can you take a few examples and quickly tell our viewers as to what did you do in some of those projects?
Well, as an architect, of course, we first of all think of buildings. Buildings come with density. Smart cities are not necessarily huge in density. They are smart. That means they have to balance density between high, medium, and low. That's what the architects think about. But it goes far beyond that to be smart. For a city, be it dense, medium dense, or low density, to become smart, it also has to have connectivity.
Sure.
And that's where software companies come in. That's where companies like CCIC come in, and many others. We have several ones in Switzerland that we work with, and we would like to bring them into our international projects. Connectivity means moving people, moving goods, moving energy, moving information and security. All of these issues need to be tackled. And of course, you can imagine it takes much more than just a couple developers or architects.
Sure.
It takes a top-down process.
Sure.
Top-down means politics have to work as well as the private initiatives that we do, that you do, that so many companies around the globe are working towards. But it only works if politics and the private sector work together.
Sure, absolutely. Could you give an example on moving energy, for example, the famous airport project that you did? And yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful example of how a smart city, a small city, but I mean, more than me, I think Anderson should be able to.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's really a wonderful project in Curacao, in the Caribbean. We were asked to develop around the airport an airport city. I can imagine that an airport is not necessarily very sustainable because we still use a lot of energy for the airplanes. But at least we figured the city should be sustainable. The city should be a zero carbon environment. How to do that on a hot island that needs air conditioning? Well, we took a project that we found from engineers in Hawaii called SWAC, Seawater Air Conditioning. So we're taking water down 800 meter deep in the sea, 4 degrees Celsius. We bring it up, we heat exchange it to a Sweetwater ring, and the Sweetwater ring is cooling all of the buildings, including a huge IT center. And the beauty is, it is all carbon free.
Oh, excellent. We were talking about smart facades and the thing that you have primarily for the Indian market. So, which has a collaboration between the facade, the glass facades, and the building management systems. How does it all work, and what is the smart facade according to you?
Yeah, that question needs to be solved first. A smart facade, the way we look at it, is a facade that is producing energy rather than needing energy to cool down. You know, in India and in many other countries as well, unfortunately, people think of glass buildings being smart buildings. That's not so. Glass buildings are stupid buildings. So in order to make them smart, we have to shade the glass. There should be no direct sunlight ever in a space, but it should be enough light when there is no direct sunlight. And what do? You have to have a means of controlling. We work with Swiss Pro blinds, which is a product that we'd like to introduce into India in the next year. Swiss Pro blinds has been tested at the embassy in New Delhi successfully, and it works in that it controls the sunlight automatically, and that's why it needs building management systems that know when the next storm is approaching to secure it. It needs the ability to direct the light towards the indoors so that the light can go reflected up to the ceiling and improve the comfort of people. It is all about comfort. When you look at the Swiss Pro blinds brochure, we're not necessarily talking about energy so much as we are talking about comfort. Just imagine the people who work on the inside of a glass building where it goes up to 35, 40 degree felt temperature, even though the air conditioning might go down to 18 degrees. Well, that just makes for your cough, but not for your comfort. So with Swiss Pro blinds and the combination with photovoltaic, we can produce the energy the blinds require, being totally independent from the net, but we need a smart net, like what you do.
Sure. Yeah, this has always been a question on everybody's mind, because we see a lot of glass everywhere, and there's always this debate about how efficient are these glass buildings in terms of the energy consumptions. Does it also mean, Andreas, that once you put these glass facade, the capital expenditures on buildings are going to come down, because probably naturally the air conditioning loads will be lower. The pumps that pump in the pumps, the motors, we can also go right up to the transformers, because if the energy is going to be less into buildings, then everything else reduces.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's a loaded question,
yeah.
Because usually builders talk about the facade cost. The facade cost will obviously be higher because a smart facade can do more than a non-smart facade. But if you look at the life cycle costs of the building, including the energy that you use for HVAC, and if you add the added comfort, which means you can use the space inside a building all the way to the facade, which normally in India we cannot do because we need to have curtains like we have behind us now, and we have to move the workspaces away from the window if we don't have the curtains down. So in a life cycle cost vision, the cost come down. Yes.
And probably one other point that you were just discussing about, the size of the ducts could reduce, the air conditioning ducts could reduce, and most of the cities in India, the metropolitan cities, we have restrictions on the height, especially the buildings which come up close to the airport. In a city like Bombay, for example, right up to Bandra Kurla complex, which is the CBD, the Central Business District. And when you have a height restriction, what do? So the smart facades would definitely help in those kind of situations.
It absolutely does, yes. And to go full circle now, back to the 2000 watt society, if we want to reduce our energy consumption, we need to have smart facades. We need to have elements like Swiss Pro blinds, photovoltaic, and together we can reach that goal.
Excellent. Andreas is also a speaker at the 3rd Smart Cities Expo, which is slated to be held in Pragati Maidan in New Delhi from the 10th to the 12th of May. So would you like to quickly say about what are those key points? Of course, nothing, because I don't want to rob the audience from anything which is going to come up in the next couple of days, but
we just did rob them, because what we talked about is what we will talk about on that very, very prestigious event in New Delhi, and I'm very much looking forward to being one of many distinguished speakers.
Thank you very much. It was absolutely a pleasure for me to be sitting next to an erudite personality like Andreas Binkert, and I'm sure Control Trends would have more of him as in the days to come. Thank you very much, Andreas, for being with us.
Thank you, Samir.
Yeah.
It was a great pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.